Well, let's bring in somebody who has operated at the highest levels of the Democratic Party and still has many, many contacts there and has been talking to people for us so we can find out what's happening in those circles. MSNBC political analyst, President Obama's campaign manager in 2008, David Plouffe is with us. David, I know you have been talking to some muckety-mucks in Democratic politics, including what we gingerly call the donor class. What was your personal David Plouffe take on what you saw tonight, and what are you hearing from the people you've been speaking with?
Well, I think consistent with your reaction, Rachel, and others on the panel, it's kind of a DEFCON 1 moment. I do think Lawrence and Chris give a very important caveat. Listen, I've been deeply involved in presidential campaign debates. Some went well, some didn't go well. The only thing that matters, and you won't really know for 3 or 4 days, is how the voters that will decide this election will react. I would also add, I have deep suspicion that Donald Trump with swing voters bombed as well. And that's the tragedy, because I think Joe Biden, the biggest thing in this election is voters' concerns, and it's both swing voters and base voters with his age, and those were compounded tonight. So what the campaign's going to do is try and run ads. Biden will go out tomorrow and the next day being aggressive. I mean, it wasn't just his craziness and his lies, although that was apparent in every question. Like, Donald Trump wouldn't even answer questions about child care or the opioid crisis. You know, talk about someone who's consumed with himself, which is what the message the Biden campaign wanted to land. But the concern level is quite high. This is a race that it reminds me a little bit of 2012, but in reverse. We had a small but significantly important lead in battleground states. We had a really bad first debate. Race tightened, but we're okay. Biden is behind narrowly right now. He's the one that has to change the equation here. And the biggest barrier that's keeping his ceiling too low is concerns about age. And I think that's the tragedy, because I think Trump had so many openings that you could have just scissored him up on tonight. And Biden did have a couple of good moments, but I think at the end of the day, the overwhelming reaction, again, it doesn't matter, quite frankly, what people like us say. It's what voters say. And if they were already concerned about, is he up for it? And the way I think about it is, sadly, this really pains me to say this, they're 3 years apart. They seemed about 30 years apart tonight. And I think that's going to be the thing that voters really wrestle with coming out of this.
And David, in terms of people in Democratic politics and people who are have the kind of influence that donors have in Democratic politics, which is, you know, there's a PhD thesis to be done right there, even in the premise of this question. What kind of reactions are you hearing in terms of what changes they want to see, what sort of reaction they want to see from Team Biden in response to what happened tonight?
Well, Rachel, I mean, there's really only 2 scenarios. One, which is not going to happen, would be Joe Biden decides to step down, and we have a fascinating 7-week campaign to get the support of delegates in Chicago. The only other option is somehow to right the ship here. Now, I'm not sure whether Trump will debate again. It's fascinating. He may think this one will wallow for him. He wants another one. You could certainly see him saying, I'm done. I'm not going to do this again. So that is a huge question mark, because Biden needs that next debate now. But all you can do if you're a Democrat is ask yourself what I can do, which is, yeah, we missed an opportunity here tonight, a significant opportunity, but it's still a close race, and you're running against Donald Trump. And again, I think this will come out. But, you know, I've talked to people who are doing dial groups and focus groups with swing voters. And as much as they were concerned about Biden's performance, and they were, you know, no one was saying, I'm really excited about Donald Trump coming back to the presidency. He reconfirmed all the reasons they voted against him in 2020. And again, I look at that as a huge missed opportunity, because he really provided a lot of openings, I think, for Biden or any candidate to really exacerbate that. So I think Democrats will spend 24, 48, 72 hours, you know, in some state of crisis. But then we have to find a way forward. But, you know, this was obviously a significant moment. It's the most important 90 minutes of the campaign, and therefore was a missed opportunity.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.